Hey, and we are back. Oh, my stream info failed to update. I have never seen that error message before. So, yeah. After that last series of Lord Triss versus Wlastelin, Wlastelin has moved on to the losers bracket finals, where he gets one more shot at qualifying for Gwent Open number 3. It's number 3, right? Is my stream title been wrong all day?
It's number 3.
Oh
it is number 3.
Oh my god. One more shot at qualifying for Gwent Open number 3, this time against GranMazorca2021.
You might think we have someone new to the scene playing, but it certainly isn't. This legendary name is inspired by the one and only Iluha, aka Big Cuckoo Rutina. GranMazorca means the same thing in Spanish, from my understanding, meaning, it's Poisoned. So reintroducing Poisoned with a new name, GranMazorca 2021.
It's corny in the best possible way. Okay, exactly. Let's head over to the deck lists. We've already talked about Wlastelin's list, but just a quick refresher. He brought Lined Pockets, Reckless Flurry, Force of Nature, and Inspired Zeal. We do have the bans, and it is Lined Pockets for Wlastelin banned once again. On the other side of the table, his opponent's Syndicate was also taken out by the bans. But not too much point in going over these deck lists again right now. Let's make sure that we have time to talk about Lord Triss's or GranMazorca's lists, and then we will come back to this if we still have some time. GranMazorca has brought Tactical Decision, Jackpot, Inspired Zeal, and Reckless Flurry, and this Tactical Decision list is quite the deck. We got Germain, we got Vreemd, we got Vrygef, got Slave Infantries. We're playing soldiers here.
We're playing Soldier Swarm. Look at this mighty list. It's a mix of really everything. So Tactical Decision, of course, you do have your classic leader targets, alongside with your Snowdrop for a solid amount of points here. Best Boy also in there, of course. But let's talk about the spicy part, which is the soldiers. Righev, Remde, Germain, to really maximize the slave infantry value. I counted this one beforehand, and we have a possibility of having 8 slave infantries together here if everything works out perfectly, and then you can actually play your Remde for about 20 points. So that's kind of what could be happening with this list if everything goes perfectly. What do you think about this one, Trident?
I really hope we get to see that. I liked the Soldiers package a lot last season too. I think the Blatemaker Mage Assassin stuff is a really nice buff to Slave Infantry in general, giving you an additional small power target to transform with Slave Infantry, which is always the problem with these types of decks before. In addition to like the general clunkiness of the golds, you also had trouble just like getting value on your Slave Infantries, and a lot of that was resolved with Mage Assassins being 2 power and being able to be transformed. Next up, we got this Jackpot deck. Poison Brothers, Freak Show.
Yeah.
Anything really standing out to you here? Not much to talk about as it was banned, but...
Yeah, maybe the Helveed is something to note here. Poison really isn't wanting to play too tall here, also cutting the provisions. Instead of running a Jacques, you can fit the Grand Inquisitor Helveed. This, of course, is threatening something like the Poison Brother combination with Helveed, kind of putting infinite points on the board if you pull it off, which is definitely something to be quite wary of for your opponents, because you have the possibility to pull it off with this. So I think that's kind of spicy if you manage to actually get them going. Other than that, yeah, pretty standard Jackpot list. Saving a couple of provisions there with the Helveed.
To go full infinite, you need something to get points, right? Like just Helveed and Poison Brothers doesn't actually go infinite?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
infinite,
no like Fire Sword Scribe.
A lot
you can make
points,
infinite
though.
tokens, but the tokens all die.
Yeah. They do die, yeah. But you get a lot of points just by doing that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Poison Brothers
doesn't actually have to be
keeping
infinite to still be Philip Rowe and
points.
poison everything by a bunch.
Infinite in my mind, but you're right, yeah.
Effectively infinite.
Yeah.
One away from actually being infinite, though.
Exactly. All right, we can move on to the inspired zeal list here, and now we get to look at the commando siege list. Of course, this list wants to go with the fullest shenanigans in round one, creating as many commandos as possible. Really loving that blue coin, as we can see with the cursed scroll stratagem, aiming to play out that, making sure you have all the tools. Defender can definitely be a tricky card to get through for your opponent unless they have really good answers to get to your full test. And of course, siege as well. Great amount of points as long as you do end up drawing it.
Yeah, this deck really leaning on the Cursed Scroll to assemble everything, so I'm sure we're going to see this on blue coin more often than he's going to want to queue it on red, with no Neuromancy to assemble the full test Donamir Roche stuff. It's pretty important that you have something to smooth all of those draws out. Lastly, we got Reckless Flurry again, playing the discard package instead of Portal. Seems to be the most common choice this season, as it just complements the Sunset Wanderers a little bit better. Unlike Wlastelin, we got GranMazorca here choosing to play at least a single copy of Greatsword for both the Hjalmar and the Megascopes. But,
Yep.
Yeah.
I think one thing to note here with the one-off copy is we can actually see a Gigascorp decoction here, which is a pretty interesting tech choice that you don't usually see. But this maybe makes your matchup into something like Full Test a little bit easier with the decoction, or maybe a Koshi. You could even get rid of the Karanthired Koshi there. So it's an interesting tech choice here for GranMazorca to have included. Yeah, not bad. But of course, yeah, you have to compromise one Greatsword there. You can't run.
Yeah, that one extra bit of 6 damage removal I could definitely see mattering in a lot of matchups. A lot of the time against Koshchei, you're pressured into wanting to use your Jonad early to answer something, and then you don't have that Jonad left over for the Koshchei later on. But the Giga Scorpion frees that up a little bit, gives you a couple more answers to things. We'll be hopping into the games shortly. I think in about 5 minutes is when the game is going to start. But until then, we can take another quick look at Wlastelin's lists. Again, Pockets was banned, but there is still Flurry, Force of Nature, and Inspired Zeal.
Yep, there is a Flurry list here, of course, with all the answers to every problem that your opponent presents on the board. You have your Unod, of course, you have your Hjalmar, great efficient removal along with points. We could see Lord Triss pulling off the great Flurry strategy of winning round one, putting pressure on your opponent, then taking it to round two and really bleeding it out with a lot of these tools. Small Blood Totem, some of your discard points can definitely be a big threat. In round two, you're looking to really get out your opponent's juice there in round two. And that's what this deck does really well. Red coin it is.
Oh, yeah. Then we got a Force of Nature. Again, no Sunset Wanderers in this list, choosing to just play She Who Knows and Defender, as well as Caretaker, to make sure that She Who Knows doesn't get locked and your Koshcheis don't get locked. In this last series, we saw this deck struggle a bit with draws, was unable to find the Koshchei in round 3, and just sort of fell apart. But hopefully that does not happen again, and we get to see this deck do what it is designed to do, and that is go into a short round with a lot of very little spiders.
Absolutely, and then we can move on to the Inspired Zeal list, of course, that Wlastelin is playing here. We do not have the Viraxes going on, but instead a lot of these other strong golds that definitely can be utilized. Another thing that was not really on Wlastelin's side in the game against Lord Triss was the siege was not found. So let's hope here that Wlastelin's luck maybe has turned, and he can actually manage to find those Koshis, and he can manage to find the Siege for Inspired Zeal. You put a lot of provisions into these cards, so you're really hoping that you will find them later.
Yeah, and he is playing double Centurion Envoy in order to try to smooth these draws over, so it's not like he's not building his decks to be consistent, just sometimes that consistency doesn't play out the way that you want it to.
Exactly. That is a fair point. And Curse Knight tech here as well for any kind of purifying of poison, for example. Against Nilfgaard, definitely pretty efficient in terms of transforming a Joachim. And other than that, you have your Banard student setting up great carryover for Shawnee with your Carrick Marines as well. Those can be used efficiently. I do like this little siege tower that has been included here. Definitely making sure you have all the siege engines that you need when you do find the siege, and you don't have to play a double off Ballista if you do it this way.
Yeah, it just gives the deck one more proactive play as well. And an 8 for 5 is pretty respectable rate as well. We should be hopping into the game shortly. The invites have been sent out. We are just waiting for them to get accepted by the players.
Take a look.
Yeah. We again see both syndicates banned from both sides. Jackpot and Line Pockets taken out. So we will have Reckless Flurry, Force of Nature, and Inspired Zeal up against Tactical Decision, Inspired Zeal, and Reckless Flurry.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see GranMazorca's tactical decision list here. I'm curious how this will work out. I think the weakness of that list is potentially ending up in a pretty short round 3, where you might not have these big points, but rather you want a round of a substantial length to make sure you can really benefit from those soldiers. So it's going to be interesting to see if GranMazorca, aka Poison, can pull that off in this one.
Yeah, the deck is also pretty volatile with its draws, too. You do have to be pretty careful with playing your, distributing your Vreems, Vragests, and Slave Infantries throughout the rounds. A lot of the time you'll be pressured to play a Slave Infantry outside of your big combo rounds, and you just gotta make sure that you still have enough resources left over to do stuff. Sometimes you gotta, commit your Vreem without committing your Vrygef, or you don't have your Vrygef, you need to commit your Vreem, and trying to manage everything to make sure you don't get stuck with any dead payoff cards is sometimes a bit of a struggle.
Yeah. Absolutely. What do you think? What will we see? Do we have the classic blue coin decks and the red coin decks going up against each other? Of course, blue coin typically something that Inspired Zeal wants to aim for, and red coin kind of a scale they go on. Then when it comes to the Koshi and the Nilfgaard, they can kind of go on either, I think. So it'll be interesting to see what we find.
Yeah, and here we are. We're hopping into the first game here.
Alrighty. GranMazorca versus Wlastelin.
Force of Nature against Tactical Decision. We're gonna see the soldiers here in the first game.
This is going to be an interesting one. Wlastelin taking this Koshi here on blue coin, wanting to get it through. Of course, now there aren't any there is an invocation, but there's not a Joachim, so at least, if you find a She Who Knows that you want to play, even if it gets invoked, I guess it's not as bad as with a Joachim, but still something to be wary of.
True, you can always Tactical Decision into it or Snowdrop into it. There are some things that threaten to play that She Who Knows after it gets yoinked, but
yeah,
a little bit more expensive than just playing a Joachim out.
For sure. And this time around, Wlastelin has found the Neuromancy now, and Koshi, and the Karanthir, and the She Who Knows. So Wlastelin is happy, I think.
Yup. Looking over at GranMazorca's hand, he's a little happy, maybe. He has a Slave Infantry, no Ramon, none of the other soldier payoffs as well, no Reem, no Vragef. So if he's going to play any of that, probably going to get saved for later on. Does have plenty of soldiers to be able to pull this Impera Brigade out. But Wlastelin here, just going to lead on Necker and click on his Mystic Lamp. Transforming the lamp to play around the Singleton Blightmaker in GranMazorca's list. Give that random damage something else to hit.
GranMazorca here really needing to find Ramon luck, ideally, to be able to control these Koshis a little bit. Of course, Wlastelin has a Caretaker that could answer that at some point. And, you're on red coin as GranMazorca, you don't have to worry too much about losing on even in this particular matchup. However, Koshi likes to bleed, of course, because it wants to go for that ideal 5-card round. I'm wondering how much power GranMazorca is able to save for round 3 with this list.
Yeah, definitely very interested in seeing how that plays out. Deck play is pretty different to a lot of the other Nilfgaard lists that you'd more commonly see on ladder. GranMazorca using that Nilfgaardian Knight to boost up the Necker and deny a little bit of Thrive value, and then following it up with the Impera Brigades to thin his deck, keeping the point. Pretty close, though, Wlastelin with the Neckers that are going to continue to grow throughout the round. Not quite enough points to jam the Witch's Apprentice yet, but we are close. Probably just 2 cards. Gonna take the Deroggerate here first.
Yeah, not too much to lock here. Of course, the Germain could be nice to put a lock on, but we know there is an Aguara in Wlastelin's deck if he really needs it later.
Yeah, Germain somewhat recently becoming an engine with the order cooldown 3, I believe, to spawn a cow.
Yep. And now the Witch Apprentice has been enabled this turn, so it can jump online and start taking away. Let's see here how GranMazorca responds. He wants to still contest this round by playing the Alba Armored Cavalry here, blocking up the poor Piglet.
Yep.
Too bad.
31 to 33. Wlastelin, plenty of good cards in this hand that he is still able to play. Could see... wonder if the Cave Troll is going to come down just to try to force the She Who Knows through.
Yep, the Cave Troll could be quite interesting if you want to hold on to your Caretaker then for the locks, or you could put the Neuromancy on the board here. You find your second engine. The Sabbath is enabled. This Witch Apprentice isn't going to be great when you find it in a round where you cannot enable the Sabbath too efficiently. So taking that engine now makes a lot of sense.
Yep. That pig is gonna fly. That Peter's gonna come down just to reset the Necker a bit. Not the most exciting Peter ever, but does keep forcing Wlastelin to play cards if he wants to. Oh, nope, just gonna pass.
It's a bit of a weird situation for Wlastelin. His hand might just be a little bit too good, which is why he's forced to take this pass. He does see the Wanderers as well, something that GranMazorca now will, will come out on the board. So let's see what he decides to commit here. There's a lot of good cards as well for GranMazorca to play, and there comes the Afon, which is essentially carryover for later with your leader. But winning the round might be worth it.
That's pretty expensive. But yeah, that's just one of the things that you can do to try to exploit Sunset Wanderers. You do see it move through your opponent's hand. You do know when it is going to come out. And here, forcing the Wanderers to pop out as well as the Afon to take the round.
Yep, and Wlastelin having all the key pieces here. If you play the Caretaker, you can potentially not purify those locks later. If you play, the Defender, She Who Knows, maybe something that could have come down there. But other than that, awkward situation and the pass had to come down from Wlastelin.
Yep, finds Ramon and the Vreem, that's still missing the Vrygeth and second Slave Infantry. But the combo is slowly coming together, and he's going to run out this Germain into the round 2 push. Getting on the board quick.
Here he is.
Cowman himself.
He's on the board, and now the we will find some cards, of course, if we decide to spend this leader. We do see one leader target in GranMazorca's hand, and we're looking to get these infantries now to get a solid 9-point value here every time we play that bronze, and then Remde is wanting to boost them later. I think this is a pretty good call, considering you did not find the Alba armored block. So in terms of answering any Koshis, it's not looking too good just yet.
Yep, that is true. Wlastelin with a couple of things that he can do here. I'm not sure how much he values saving this Defender for round 3. I gotta imagine you're gonna want to play the Defender to protect the She Who Knows to try to get that carryover, right? But no rush, obviously. Yep. Can do that at any point in the round. Probably expecting GranMazorca to play at least a few cards, and he's just going to play the Elder Bear.
Here comes cows. The bear is looking at these cows, maybe thinking it's a tasty dinner, but they are not something that it can reach just yet, because they will get transformed here, and out comes the infantries instead. A lot of points on the board.
Conscripting some cows into the army. That's flavorful, right? I think that's a thing that happened in The Witcher 3.
Surely.
Yeah, why not?
But yeah, it's a good point with the She Who Knows there. Wlastelin hasn't been able to play it for carryover, I think, yet with this Koshi deck. So let's hope that he can get the value he intends on getting from them. And here comes the Defender. I think you might be calling the She Who Knows.
Gotta imagine that if you're putting She Who Knows in your deck, you're trying to play it before round 3. I know it can be hard sometimes, but if you can justify spending 13 provisions on it, it's probably because you think you're going to be able to play it before round 3 sometimes.
Yep. Well, let's see here. I wonder if GranMazorca's leader is going to come down to maximize these infantries even further.
You smell right with fear.
Yeah. Oh.
You gotta wonder.
Ratcatcher is coming down for Wlastelin. A couple of relics in hand that are going to boost that up, though I guess it doesn't really matter if it gets boosted to 11, because there's no round 4.
And here comes the leader, finding one of these key pieces here, the Vrighef, and double leader target, Snowdrop. Snowdrop, bit late here to the party, but, she can still help. And, ooh, these assassin pings on the Ratcatcher is getting some nice value since the row isn't on Sabbath quite yet.
Oh my god, he found the Vrighef, one of the pings hit the Ratcatchers. Can't ask for more. This is going great. 55 to 17, there's still the Reamed to come down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slave infantries. We got a 14-point Reamed coming next turn.
Yeah, considering we can get 8 on the board with this deck and we have 6, I think that's a pretty great achievement for GranMazorca here.
Yeah, Corinthia are coming down here. 25-55. GranMazorca...
Yeah, it kind of has to come down. You want to still get those thrive points on the Koshi. Maybe you can save one of them with leader. That's still a huge amount of points later. For Wlastelin, but this point gap.
25-71. Yeah. Wow.
I feel like it should be the other way around here. The Koshis are usually the ones putting the giant points on the board, but yeah, here we go with the pass. It's coming.
Before the Koshjays come down, the deck doesn't have great ways of putting points in play. It's these Koshjays that really fuel everything. And here they are. They're down. Point gap is huge. The She Who Knows is coming down for 10 carryover, but we're still 20 points away. Does the leader do it here? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19? I think leader's one short.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I trust this judgment.
Wait, is leader a relic?
Really unfortunate. It is a relic, so it gets one more point on the Ratcatcher.
I think it works then, because the Ratcatcher is. I think.
Let's see.
Doesn't go for it, though.
Yeah. Alright. I mean, it's a bit of counting to do here. I'm definitely trusting trying it
if
here.
If leader does it by
math,
1,
though,
then Caretaker is short by 1 here.
It should be. That's a bit of a tricky spot there. What can an arrow pull here to save the day?
It
doesn't seem like there is anything left here that actually can do it. That means...
Yeah, there's only been... There's no Crones played. Just Maxi?
Yep.
Oh no! Is he gonna... Oh, no, the leader just flashed. Okay. Wait. But...
Yep.
Yeah?
We do it.
So playing 2 cards instead of playing leader?
Yep, that's what Wlastelin is opting to do here. So we're going on to round 3 this way. Definitely taking it here. GranMazorca, of course, has 2 cards. And Evil Eye, playing for a decent amount of points here on the Ratcatcher, is carrying over for round 3 already. And then Blightmakers are certainly points. Crones, I think, help Wlastelin here if he can manage to find those.
Finds one of them.
Alright, and I believe the Blightmaker had to go back there since the Mage Assassins were the targets that already came down from the leader. Okay, so, I mean, we still have points from Wlastelin's side of the board. Monsters can do that.
Yeah, but, can't even really play around the... I've gotta lock the... Gonna lock the Ratcatcher so that it doesn't grow and make the Ivar bigger.
This is a play I've never seen before. It's great.
Technically also stops damage from hitting it for extra, but I don't even know if there's any damage left over
I don't
for
think
Gran.
so. No. Wow.
Oh,
Alright, Invocation
man.
now, Snowdrop, of course, draws 2 cards here, so the Ratcatcheress could be played from GranMazorca's side now. And 9 points here, still on the leader, as well as 9 points on the Gankeen.
Yep.
But here comes the Igor.
Gonna make that relic pockets.
Yeah. Decent amount of points here on the Igor, even in this short of a round.
So 20 points needed. What
a game.
Okay,
Playmaker has to go here and Maxi.
Okay. Right, Ratcatcher's on top, so it's fine.
Yeah. Ratcatcher is at 10 base power there. What a game! So, Wlastelin there, I think we got it right that it was doable with the leader charge there.
I might have mistaken the math. I trust the players to do the math more than I trust me to do the math there. But
that is absolutely fair. Maybe Wlastelin did count that, and it wasn't. It would have been a tie or something there. We have to go back and investigate this later, but still very intense games. And when you are playing and you are, there's a lot on the line, definitely stressful to make sure you get everything right. And yeah, we might have to check that one out. Yeah, chat saying here that the leader should have been enough by 1, meaning Trinet definitely caught that really, really fast there, but it's easy to miss.
I don't know.
Of course.
Not sure. Since Max used 3 less points, isn't leader a tie? There's 1 extra point on the Ratcatcher because the token's a relic.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where we fished out that 1 point.
Okay, well, going into game number 2. The soldiers unfortunately through, so we won't be seeing that anymore, but...
Unfortunately, I think it's pretty impressive getting those soldiers through against Koshi. Wow.
Yeah, here we're gonna see Inspired Zeal against the Kashtia once again.
Alright. Wlastelin, of course, getting another shot here, and Koshi really strong on red coin, so all is not lost. Wlastelin has a great chance here against GranMazorca, who will be fighting it out, of course, bringing the Inspired Zeal list on blue coin. Commandos really like that, so let's see if Wlastelin can... I mean, there's a couple of things that Koshi can do here. You can, if there's a full test and you don't really have an efficient answer, you can pass quite early on and then defend the bleed and keep your Koshis without spending those, and to still have a lot of points in a short round 3. You could also try to pressure this round and win it to gain round control, but that might be difficult with a full test potentially.
Yeah, looking at this hand, though, there's no Defender or Full Test in hand. I guess you could use the Amphibious Assault to get the Defender, and then the Cursed Scroll to get the Full Test, but we just see a Commando just played from hand. No fear, one of the things you can do in open deck lists. I guess there's just no 4 damage effects.
There's a log. There is a log, though, that could come down on this one, I guess.
You don't care if your Commando gets locked, though?
Not really. You can get another one. Reinforcements, yeah, or a...
Yeah. Okay, just gonna take this approach. Starting off with the Blue Stripe Scout, up to 3 Commandos.
Right, and Brewis coming down as the first crone on the board. Maybe Wlastelin is considering thinning here. Not really worrying too much about contesting this round, which would make sense for Koshi.
Yep, looks like we got the Cursed Scroll coming down. Does decide to tutor the full test. And just gonna play it. Not gonna bother wasting any time Amphibious Assaulting for Defender. Just willing to get that locked.
Yep, I mean, there is a caretaker, so that defender probably is going to get purified, so maybe you think that there are better uses for your amphibious assault anyway. And we're looking at a pretty nice hand still from GranMazorca with the reinforcement, still being able to copy and make more commandos, making it, like, you can definitely win the round with these points, even if your full test gets locked.
Yeah, up to 5 commandos already. Reinforcements on Blue Stripe Scout is going to be another 8 points and another commando.
I like this She Who Knows here. It really cannot be answered by much in GranMazorca's list. So this time, Wlastelin could play her pretty early on and make sure he gets the carryover he wants.
Finally, She Who Knows doing what She Who Knows wants to do. Come down in round 1 and threaten a bunch of points over the course of the rest of this game. GranMazorca's very, very greedy commandos list here, not very high on interaction. Does have a Marg, but if he goes for that, there is the caretaker available from Wlastelin.
Yep, of course, there is a chance that Wlastelin could have missed Caretaker or an Airmancy or a Guara, but, you know, there should be plenty of answers for this lock. You'd imagine Wlastelin wants to take it here.
Yeah, deck is very heavy on ways to purify off locks.
He could also decide for engine value and play that first, then play the unlock on the She Who Knows.
Yeah, no real rush on it. You know, if your opponent passes, you're going to be able to take your unlock anyway. And if they don't pass, then there's going to be more cards to play into the round that you can spend on the caretaker as well. Sort of just depends on when you want to be passing. And he's thinking about playing the... He is mousing over the caretaker.
Yep. But here comes the Witch Apprentice first. I mean, it's nice getting that engine value. Now, winning round 1 looks a little bit more viable for Wlastelin, as GranMazorca is forced to take a pass, but also has played out the commandos that he created. Yeah, that's
the caretaker
pretty big, I think.
Is 1 short here, right? He gets +4 on the Witch Apprentice, puts him to 38, +7 is 45.
Yep, it seems to be the case here. The peg will tick twice.
Yeah, it's probably what he was thinking about when making the decision between playing the Caretaker and the Witch Apprentice. Decided to take the risk and run out the Witch Apprentice, and now maybe getting a little bit punished. Forced in a slightly awkward spot here.
Yep, let's see what he decides to do. It will definitely have to be 2 cards, unless you want to...
I mean, Witch Apprentice does
here,
it, but then you're not unlocking your She Who Knows.
Exactly.
Looks like that's...
It's either that or... Bit confusing there with the lock, of course. But yeah, we have the piglets, and She Who Knows actually did not end up getting that carryover.
Goodbye,
but
She Who
it
Knows.
Oi, oi.
Yup.
Okay.
Well, oh no, Elder Bear's going away.
She Who Tried. She tried her best, but unfortunately...
She who tries her best and never succeeds.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
Wlastelin gonna lead on this defender. Probably gonna be pushing this round pretty aggressively. Though I guess defender's not really much of a commitment at all, given the low interaction in Mazorca's deck.
Yeah, and Wlastelin is happy here, having the Koshi and the Karanthier. But Mazorca here nicely being able to play out one of these siege engines before actually having to commit the actual siege. But yeah, you're pretty happy here defending the bleed, I think.
Yeah, you want to get out the siege engine before the siege, so that way when the bombardment goes off, you have all of your siege engines in play, and you aren't holding back some of that value.
Wlastelin definitely has to be a little bit careful with this Ratcatcherus and the timing of it, as the bombardment, of course, could hit it multiple times, getting really, really good value unless the Sabbath is enabled. But I'm wondering if you would even look at these Koshis coming down, because if you do not get enough stuff out here, it's definitely a little bit worrisome. But here comes the siege. What a commitment from GranMazorca's side. A lot of provisions there.
Yeah, I mean, just knows that the push is going to be rough, and if you got to play the siege engines anyway, it's going to be tough to have enough left over to make sure that the siege full procs in round 3 anyway. So just play it out and see where the round goes from here. And we are going to see Wlastelin commit big as well with the Corinthier throwing out that combo. Puts a bunch of armor in play too, which does make the siege awkward as well.
Yep, and at this point there is no bombardment to potentially ping this Koshi down either, so playing it this turn kind of guarantees it surviving as well. It's a bit difficult to remove for now.
As pings just hit the armor. Now we go second Koshie, leader, throw a bunch more armor in play to make the bombardments bad. The siege really isn't playing for that much value.
No, and this bombardment in hand, looking unfortunate, not what you want to see. Not like Harold's Skellige pings that can go through armor. This armor will do a lot of work for Wlastelin here. As we can see, that bombardment did not look too great, but GranMazorca is able to get rid of the Koshi here.
Yeah, one of the Koshies going down is big, but yeah, that was a lot of armor, that 8 bombardment pings there.
Alright, and now the Rat Catcheress can safely come down as we have the Sabbath enabled. Of course, we are also enabling a Relict Pocket here on the front row for the Keen.
That's going to be coming down as a 9. These ballistas continuing to ping. Reinforcements makes another one, refreshes those ballistas. Going to kill one of those Dragolarvas in the back.
And setting up a 2-point target for potentially Vernon Roche. I mean, this is looking good for Wlastelin is if he is able to force out this Roche, because Roche and Pavetta, both cards that you kind of want to hold on to, but this bombardment is not going to do it, and GranMazorca is forced to play points here.
I mean, a lot of the armor has already been removed. I don't know, the bombardment could be good.
Yeah,
hits more armor. Okay.
Hitting the Thrive units might not be the.
Ooh. More pings
right,
happen.
no.
51-28. Here's the Gan-Cane. And Wlastelin just says, here, I got 66 points. Can you do it?
Can you do it? Let's see here. We are going to see a lot of pings again from these Ballista. Roche coming down here gets the Death Blow, Amphibious Assault. Of course, a great card to carry over to round 3. If you can actually make up the point gap that we see here.
I think you can do it with
Which, you can.
Pavetta, yeah. Refreshes the ballistas too.
And then you don't have any commandos left for round 3, but you do get to see your Amphibious Assault again. Wlastelin, on the other hand, has spent a lot of his resources at this point.
Yeah, not sure what Wlastelin still has left over for round 3. The Koshies, Corinthier committed. Shihinos was locked in round 1.
Yep. But still a lot of points here come down from GranMazorca, points that he would like to see in round 3. Pavetta here, putting back the commandos that have to be pulled out here.
Yep.
And putting just enough, blocking this row, making sure you can Amphibious Assault into the rest of the commandos that are still a couple there, so you can use your Amphibious Assault on that in round 3. Really nice heads up there by Poisoned.
Tight play there. So what, that leaves 2 in deck, I believe?
Yeah, 2 or 3, I believe.
2 or 3.
I think 2 is might be a little bit closer. Putting Amphibious Assault back so you can tutor it there with the Natalis. These Ballista are not ideal for this round here. And here is a commando. Leader charges, all 3 have been saved, and Trinet was right. 2 commandos coming out here.
So GranMazorca with the Natalis, Wlastelin with a Neuromancy for something. Not sure what Crones have been played.
See. There might be another Crone left, either damage or boost Crone to help with the points.
Yeah,
but the Archospores, unfortunately, cannot be consumed. I believe we saw Brutus there in round 1.
Yep.
Yep, both Crones left.
But yeah, it means the Archospore is going to be stuck in the deck. There's the damage crone to take out that Ballista before it can deal 2 more damage, wasting 1 point of damage on your side, but denying 2 from the opponent. Effectively playing for 5 extra. And Bombardment comes out off the Natalis. Leader charges coming down, and looks like GranMazorca's got this.
Bombardment. He's got it. I was wrong about that AA. It was doomed in round 2, so we can see it here again, but the Bombardment was enough here to take it.
Well,
alright,
this has been a couple of brutal series for Wlastelin so far.
Fast-paced, and yeah, things have not really gone according to plan with this Koshi list for Wlastelin, that's for sure. However, good call going for that all in there. Really hoping to see all of those resources from GranMazorca, but he was able to keep just enough for round 3 there with the Commandos.
Yeah, just barely having enough there, and now he's just got to get through Reckless Flurry against all of the decks remaining for Wlastelin's lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Are we gonna see another Koshi?
Yeah, just gonna try to run the Kostra through? Is She Who Knows gonna finally do something?
Determined. That would be quite cool if we could see the Koshi come through, I think. But maybe it's not its time yet, but Wlastelin is wanting to queue something here that he thinks will do best into the SK list. Maybe it would be the Koshi, honestly. We'll see.
Yep. And here we go. Players queue up their decks pretty quick, and we've got Flurry up against Inspired Zeal this time. Wlastelin choosing to play his NR on blue.
NR on blue can definitely keep up with the Skellige shenanigans. Not impossible to defend the points that might come down from GranMazorca.
Yep. Let's see what the players are mulliganing for. Let's see if I can put my quality back to 1080p, or if that's still gonna be a problem.
Alright.
Well, hopefully this
Hope for the best.
Yeah, let's hope for the best. Double Reinforced Ballista, double Karak Marine in hand for Wlastelin. Doesn't have any... Oh, does have the one of the 2 Centurion Envoys that he's playing to try to smooth out his draws a little bit. Gonna lead on the
really
banner
nice.
student.
It's a little bit slow though with the Envoy, of course, can definitely be a little bit spooky when you are on blue coin, but definitely a lot of tools here to hopefully not go down against Skellige, but Decoction comes down here alongside with a leader charge. This is indicating that GranMazorca really wants to try and go for it here, I think.
That was so much more aggressive than I was expecting. Wow. Just throw out the Gigascorp and a leader to answer the first engine played from Wlastelin. Wow. Here comes the Coral. Gonna ping down this as well.
Will we see another leader charge taking care of this one? I don't think so.
Oh my god,
okay, we are.
So aggressive!
He did it. I mean, it was very tempting, right? It was perfect sitting there at 3.
I mean, if you're gonna kill the first engine, might as well kill the second one too.
We are playing really
Scald and another leader charge? Just kill all of them? You got it.
Just do it. I mean, might as well. Then your Unod, unfortunately, will struggle quite a bit if you don't have any way to enable that Bloodthirst. Unless you maybe leader ping and use the Unod here.
Yeah. Instead of the Scald, just use the Junod. Why not? Oh, looks like Maxi's coming down instead. Quen near the top. Gets a Megascope on the bottom. A Gutting Slash, Great Sword, Svalblood Totem near the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Are we going to keep this, or do we want to make sure we see that totem? We do have a lot of thinning there.
Yeah, the way that I usually play Maxi when I'm playing these decks is I'll often, if there's not a Bear Witcher like in the bottom slot, I'll almost always just bottom a Bear Witcher to make sure that I can play the discard package in round 3. You draw so much of your deck anyway that unless you want specific cards in round 2, you don't really care too much what the order of your deck is. The big bonus is, yeah.
point. Yeah, not drawing into that because you don't want to break them. Of course, it will be one of your Geralt targets, potentially the Quinn target.
There's
Okay.
other discard coming out. Ooh, not gonna miss the siege this game.
Siege on top. That is nice for Wlastelin to see. Of course, here we're just playing bronzes. GranMazorca has shown that he is willing to commit, so fighting here for this round.
The rare 6-point Raging Bear coming out there. Gonna damage this Coral by 2. A lot of the time, that's just gonna either be played on an empty board or played on something with armor to not lose points, but option not available for GranMazorca. And it is the Sunset Wanderer's turn.
And also can play a Megascope now that you have a target there. Of course, Sunset Wanderers coming down is quite a big one for round 1. At least you're not committing a lot of your other expensive cards or leader charges anymore. You can take it slow for now. You can sit on the squirrel too. Hope that maybe Wlastelin would take it and you still have enough tempo to play it.
There's the Megascope coming down, as you said, on the Elder Bear for 8 points, and then the Sunset Wanderers pops out as well. 34-24, but really 42-23. As Wlastelin has a couple of orders available. Got that Envoy to click on to continue to smooth out his draws should he continue playing into the round, as well as the Ballista Ping. But if he does continue playing, this is a big point gap to need to play into.
You definitely have to commit some of these expensive goals, or you take the loss on even saying that, hey, I am able to defend it with something like the Siege and my unused Amphibious Assault that hopefully doesn't get squirreled. We'll see about that.
This rope ticking down, it's just gotta be the pass. Like, you don't even have time to use your Envoy at this point.
This means GranMazorca has all the tools to go for the famed Skellige Flurry push from Red Coin. Wlastelin, of course, having to defend this, but drawing some pretty big cards here as well.
Finds Axie, Hjalmar, and Heatwave. And
Heatwave
Birna.
will come in handy.
Not bad.
For the Siege, of course. All right, we do find siege targets for Wlastelin, which is nice. Definitely something you want to see. If you are intending on playing that one, maybe we'll go for a siege, kind of do a little bit of a heatwave check, see if that one exists.
Yep, here's the Birna. I think he didn't shuffle with the Maxi. I remember the 2 Bear Witchers were next to each other in the deck. But,
yeah. I mean, finding the Morpharg here is quite useful. Definitely a little bit awkward, struggling with proactive plays here, but you want to open the bleed, so going for that blind Birna there.
Yep. Puts 11 points in play as we head back to Wlastelin, who is getting bled once again. No stranger to this situation. What does he want to commit to start off this round? Does have Ballista and Amphibious Assault to be able to proc the Siege if he needs to. Natalis, I believe, is Bombardment or Boiling Oil.
Could go even for a Shawnee if you want to really hold on to this Siege. It might be a risk to take, though, if you end up having to play too many resources here, but saying, I have enough cards to defend this bleed without committing the Siege, at least, just yet. I mean, it's nice. Especially if you haven't seen Heatwave yet, it doesn't feel good. If you play that Siege, it gets Heatwaved, and you've just spent a lot of provisions.
Yep. There's the Karak Marine coming out, but GranMazorca just gonna take the Heatwave on that Shawnee before that can go off a second time.
See here, now this opens up the Siege play for Wlastelin. It will be safe once it comes down. However, ideally, with Siege, you would like to get ahead, I think, when you put it on the board. Playing the Siege and going down a card, not ideal.
Yep. Looks like he was mousing over Amphibious Assault there for a second, but he does have to be careful. If he commits the AA, he no longer has 2 Siege Engines, so he would be going all in on not having to commit the Siege into round 2.
This Natalis here is tutoring out a bombardment as of now. No reinforcements to copy any siege engines. You could actually proc the siege by going for your Gerhardt and teleportation on the ballista, unless that would get killed by a bear witcher, of course.
Yeah, Ansei's coming down here, takes out the Birna to get ahead. 5 to 15. This Heron Kaduk gonna come down for the Bear Witcher, narrow the point gap a bit, but mostly just keeping the pressure on. Natalis gonna take out the Bear Witcher before that is able to get healed by the Heron Kaduk. And we are back
boiling oil, another target there, not just bombardment coming down from Natalis, taking down the Bear Witcher, yeah.
Yep. Still has that Bear Witcher in hand. I'm not sure what the Gwent target is right now. I think one of the Bear Witchers got discarded. He has the Axie in hand. And these decks don't play Quartermaster. I'm not sure.
Junod was
yeah,
put back.
I think you're right. I think he might have drawn it in the Gwent.
Yeah, the Unod should still be there in the deck. At least I don't recall it being played. So we do have that option. And one leader charge or the Bear Witcher to set it up. Here comes Yalmar, though, getting rid of the Anseus.
Yep. Getting ahead this time. 8 to 7, just barely. Wlastelin now has to decide whether he wants to commit the Gerhardt or commit the Siege. Or just take a risk and commit a Siege engine and hope that you're able to get out without playing the Siege.
Yeah, committing this Gerhardt here is definitely a little bit scary, considering you might have to commit the Siege even then after that. So maybe you're just going to go for the Siege now. At least you won't lose your card if you do that. But we do see a pretty... Yep, okay.
There's Ballista coming down. He's gonna try to hold it.
For the Siege now. But,
yeah, this is one of the downsides of playing Scenario. If you try to hold on to it, you do risk getting 2-0'd sometimes.
Exactly, but maybe Wlastelin is saying, I need to save these points, I need to have them later.
Yeah, totally
reasonable.
Which,
you know, is a reasonable call.
GranMazorca just gonna throw out that last leader charge.
The Unod is enabled here on the Hubert.
Yup, gotta imagine that's what that was for, and we are seeing the Quen into the Junod here. Take out that Hubert, and yeah, now Wlastelin's in this really awkward spot where he has the Siege with only the one Siege engine available.
We still do have some points here, of course, with the Gerhardt and the Amphibious Assault. Still, you haven't seen the Axie, so you gotta be a little bit scared about boosting anything up a lot. But you could go for the pact here on the Natalis.
Yeah, the Siege doesn't even get ahead anymore. The point gap was too big.
Let's see here. Is GranMazorca gonna push all the way? He still has that heal value on the Heron Kaduk. So yeah, we do see the Bear Witcher coming down and using the heal. And now the Amphibious Assault
you could
to
Siege leader charge to be ahead?
Or do you take that gamble that GranMazorca?
Yeah, you could just run out the AA.
This is a really tough decision for Wlastelin to make. It's not an easy one to go for.
Sure. Oh man, what is he gonna do?
You have a Seltkirk there if you wanted to go for something that definitely has points, but it doesn't play into the Axie if you are scared of that.
Yep.
But it is scary though. You need to think about what are the possible cards that GranMazorca could have in hand right now.
About the Siege. He keeps mousing over it, then moving his mouse.
The rope is ticking, so that means
we might not have time for the AA. Yeah, there's the Siege. Does he use the leader charge too?
Yeah.
Yeah, leader charge gets used as well to get ahead. And then, I mean, you gotta play the Axie here. Maybe? You know AA's left. No, you know AA is left, right? So you're just getting first AA for Axie?
Yep, there it is. AA for Axie, meaning Wlastelin saves the AA. This time it is actually AA, it's not doomed. So the first one here coming out. Not a bad card to save. I'm not sure here what GranMazorca has left. Of course, I think that's a lot of resources already out from GranMazorca. So round 3, how are you able to take it? I guess we haven't seen Totem yet.
Yep,
I believe
there's a totem somewhere. I guess the card's got mulligans. There it is, yeah.
In hand.
And there's a greatsword under it, I believe. And then I don't know what Megascope was the next card, I think.
Yep. Wlastelin knows at least, and he does. GranMazorca knows, and he takes the mulligan here. Able to play a little bit uninteractive if he so wants to.
So,
but
yeah, 12 on the totem, 5 on the greatsword if it lives because of the gutting slash. No leader charges left.
No leader charges left. Wlastelin definitely has the points here with the AA, of course. I guess this is the second Marine we see. Yep. Could come down on Selkirk. Could come down on Royal Guard. We'll see.
Yep.
Now Totem coming down here. Bleed going to be a little bit awkward on one of these guys here for the War Chariot.
Yep. Gonna continue playing around the bleed there, but War Chariot being in order means that he just gets to sit on that and play for a bit. Carrack Marine, Amphibious Assault as options. Not sure the sequencing matters very much here.
Nope, there is nothing really to
first.
play around anymore, I believe.
Yeah, like you never AA into Selkirk. So, probably just getting, Radovid's Royal Guards here.
Radovid's Royal Guards, this War Chariot, not doing too much here on this melee row, unfortunately. 5 points greatsword. Coming in hot. And the bleeds can finally come down on something. Look at that.
There's the Marine. 4 points there, 2 points on the Royal Guard, and this 4-point gutting slash. Not quite enough to get there as Wlastelin stays alive for another game.
We're still in it. The Northern Realms has gone through for Wlastelin. Really, really tight game there. Scary stuff with that siege, with the Amphibious Assault. Also, very aggressive approach from GranMazorca here. Didn't really end up paying out in that. He was a bit short on points there in round 3 after going really hard.
Could be the beginning of a reverse sweep. Still gotta get through his Force of Nature and his Reckless Flurry. GranMazorca just gotta get through his own Reckless Flurry.
See what will happen here, because we're about to move on to the next one. Alright, Wlastelin this time on red coin. Skellige seems like a tempting deck to play here. So we might be looking at a Flurry Mirror.
Skellige seems like a real tempting deck to play for GranMazorca.
Yeah, it has to be a bit tempting. We'll see. Yep. Also for
Wlastelin play the Reckless Flurry and GranMazorca as well.
None of them could resist the temptation. Okay, so this mirror will come down to a lot of these draws, definitely. But we do see both players drawing some kind of a discard package already, which is not too bad. GranMazorca, of course, on blue coin does have to be a little bit worried.
Yep. Mulliganing away that Hjalmar is not very good in round 1. GranMazorca with one of the optimal leads out of the deck with the Raging Bear. Again, no units in play, doesn't need to damage anything, just comes down as an 8 as we go back over to Wlastelin.
And the differences here, of course, in these decks are the gird that Wlastelin has fit in, cuts the greatswords. GranMazorca, on the other hand, is fitting in a Gigascorp decoction and only one greatsword. So a couple of differences there in the bronzes, and we'll see how that ends up working out.
Yeah, interestingly, the Cutting Greatsword for Wlastelin makes the Gigascorpion decoction for GranMazorca a lot less relevant in this matchup than it would otherwise be, because you can't deny any of the good Megascope targets with that Gigascorp now.
Yep. See what's going to happen here.
Brokvar Hunter damages the bear, but still healthy enough to get Megascoped.
Healthy enough for an 8-point Megascope maxi round 1 here. Of course, being able to clean up the draws. Wlastelin, on the other hand, playing out his double engines.
Brokvar Hunter is pretty nice. GranMazorca just gonna run out for that Coral now. Discard the Skirmisher that is to the left of the Sunset Wanderers. Damage down that Brokvar Hunter.
Well,
Massive
hit it again.
Boros getting used again. Does he hit the 50-50? No.
Oh, he did not. Yeah, committing Coral here is definitely a resource that you're playing out here in round 1, but deciding to do that though, while Wlastelin on the other hand can hold on to these resources for now and play this bronze discard instead. Maybe holding on to that Coral.
Red coin privilege.
Exactly. We get to see here the maxi from GranMazorca's side. A little bit slow, so the Coral the turn before is at least a little bit of tempo, so that GranMazorca is able to play out the maxi here.
Yep. You played your Coral, your opponent didn't respond with a tempo play of their own, so you're able to just play your low tempo thinning card.
Yep.
Let's see what gets picked up here. Gigascorpion drawn.
Yep. Could answer a Coral quite efficiently.
True.
Is definitely not bad. Other than that, I don't know what your ideal targets for a decoction here is. Gerd, on the other hand, can be quite nice. Just points twice for Wlastelin.
Not Coral, probably just Bear Witcher, either to deny Hernkuduk or to try to deny Megascopes.
Yeah. True.
All
right, here. What is gonna happen? GranMazorca just
okay, so this isn't a round.
Go hard.
Got a bit of a loading screen here before we get into round 3. Let's just relax a bit.
We're chilling. This, I mean, it is a Megascope, so it's a mega bleed from GranMazorca for sure.
Just gonna be playing down the 7. Oh, nope. Gonna be playing down the 8, deciding the cards in hand are valuable enough that doesn't care about thinning the deck a little bit for the discard package in round 3.
Also, of course, having the information of the maxi can help a little bit here, knowing exactly what you want to go for.
For sure.
Wlastelin here.
Wlastelin also deciding that his hand is good enough.
Yep. Otherwise, you'd have to play out something valuable here. Long round here. One of the players have Coral, the other one does not.
Yeah, as far as quality goes, Wlastelin's probably in a pretty good spot.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Well,
committed
depends
nothing.
a little bit on these draws as well. And ideally, you would find your Burna. If
Take
you
the Skirmisher too to
Wlastelin.
even hedge.
Okay.
Finds a Scald instead. So has Coral for the Morkvarg, and then an extra Scald to potentially pair with the Burna.
And the Wanderer, of course, going to draw into a card as well, showing Wlastelin one more card there off the top. And GranMazorca, same thing there. One card will be drawn into here with the Wanderer.
Decides he just has to lead on the Coral, which is both discarding a card to the right of Sunset Wanderers, as well as not getting value on the Coral damage.
Yeah, and GranMazorca having the Gigascorp, of course, put back to deck, but, there's the threat of that still, Wlastelin.
Looks like we're just going to take the Hjalmar on it.
Yep. Clean removal there. But, Wlastelin not having that many proactive place, or maybe the Heron Canoe would have been something into the Quartermaster.
Yeah, nothing to damage with it. You could Heron Caduc into Bear Witcher Adept too, potentially, if you think the making his random damage bad is the thing you're in the market for.
But maybe you were saying the squirrel will get removed anyway.
Yeah.
Although you might get the extra 2 points. It's a difficult call to make, but this one. Now we're kind of even here in terms of the resources that we have.
Yeah, with the Coral taken out, the Hjalmar has been committed, but not too bad. GranMazorca has his Birna in hand as well, where Wlastelin is currently missing his.
A couple of options to get it.
Yeah.
It really depends on what this Scald is going to draw, as well as the Sunset Wanderer.
Yeah, the Scald and the Wanderers are going to determine how the rest of this game goes, whatever he's able to pull off the top of the deck.
Alright, this time around we are going for the Heron Canoe into the Quartermaster because of, not great proactivity.
Looks like he is playing the Birna now. Not too worried about making the Sunset Wanderers as big as possible, as there is just an Axie that doesn't really have much of a better target. Whether the Wanderers is a 12 or the Wanderers is a 15 is sort of the same thing when you're just getting Axied in the end anyway.
Yeah, and Discord targets have been found here for the Birna as well. Quite nice. Gerd, seeing his value, deciding, hey, it's time for me to show up.
Yep, show up. That's a good way to put it.
Yep.
Keeping the points close. 19 to 16. Leader charge is getting used here to try to get damage on the Gerd for the Junod, and it does happen.
And
big
although
Junod.
the heal value has been enabled, all the Heron could do on the Quartermaster now too, in case of no Bear Witchers.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. If it doesn't get clicked, Gutting Slash has Bloodthirst.
It does seem like Wlastelin is wanting to maximize the Sunset Wonder, maybe saying, hey, maybe GranMazorca missed something, and he did not see that Axie, but...
It's pretty hard to miss Axie in a deck with the discard package and Quen. It's one of the few cards in your deck that's actually tutorable.
Absolutely, but it can happen. Yeah. Bottom card.
We've seen crazier things for sure. There have been some bricked games over these last couple of series.
Exactly.
Hjalmar comes down, and we go back over to GranMazorca. Greatsword time?
Greatsword time, I think. It seems like a decent call to go with. Could also... we're waiting for the Heron Canoe, Bear Witcher to be enabled with the Adrenaline as well as the Quen.
Yep. Chooses to not use any leader charges with it, so is just gonna be Junaudible.
Yes. The Junod still exists, a threat that we see in Wlastelin's head, and it's coming down now. Of course, Wlastelin had to wait all this time before we can play the Scald. This is going to be interesting to see what...
Turn end here. Wanderers is gonna pop out, and we draw Bear Witcher. That's the first one, right?
That is the first one. I believe there is one more, so it's not bricked. Axie, of course, sees its value, can come down. So does the Sunset Wanderers from GranMazorca's side. The Scald on Wlastelin's side could still find something valuable, but...
Here's the Axie. Both the Wanderers just getting resets. Both the Wanderers still trading pretty well into the resets, though, if you look at what cards were picked up. The Wanderers on GranMazorca's side still worth 7 points, as he draws the Gigascorpion Decoction, and over in Wlastelin land, picked up a Bear Witcher for 8.
Wlastelin land. Here is the Bear Witcher. It looks like we're looking at the Quen coming down here. Getting some good value.
There's the Bear Witcher coming out from the Quen. Using
it's nice getting that shield out, yeah. Before these random pings start hitting the board. Of course, GranMazorca is looking to enable the double Bloodthirst here, making the Gutting Slash a little bit nicer. with
Grand
two blood
Mazorca's
thirst.
own Quen coming out, getting ahead here.
Yep.
28.
We are definitely mirroring the plays, but some small differences that definitely are game deciding here. Wlastelin, of course, does have all of his 3-leader pings left. We were
this
just
is
hovering
big.
over that deck.
No!
Oh.
Maxi!
Totem is still in deck, and so is Berna. Not ideal draws at all for Wlastelin this game.
Top 10 Gwent betrayals. Drawing Maxi off your last discard unit.
Yeah. GranMazorca drawing Maxi round 1, definitely paying off. Knowing what you will draw into, Wlastelin had to go a little bit blind into this round 3, unfortunately.
Yep. So, Wlastelin with a heat wave of his own. This game is still pretty close. Gutting Slash, Heron Kaduk, and 2-leader charges against 3-leader charges, Bear Witcher, and Heat Wave. 24 to 29. Wlastelin to play. What is he gonna run out? Mousing over that Bear Witcher.
Bear Witcher seems like a decent play to go with. This way you do kind of, you know, if there is anything tall from this Heron Kaduk cell, you can remove it with the Heat Wave, aka Mentor. Playing for, you know, okay value if you go for the later charges here as well.
There is Bloodthirst available on this Gutting Slash, but no 6 power units. So only playing for 5 currently on the board.
Yeah,
So,
it could still go ahead and play the Heron Kaduk here for a Bear Witcher.
could also get Bear Witcher Mentor, is it? How many damage units are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? That would be 10.
You could go for the Mentor, but there still is the threat of the Heat Wave from Wlastelin, so it's kind of nice that Wlastelin definitely considered this and saved it here.
Yep.
Alrighty. We have a couple of options, and here we go. Let's see what we end up pulling.
There it is. And just takes the safe Bear Witcher. Damage
It's
is
a safe
the
play to
Scald.
go for. Alright.
Let's see what the leader does. This
The leader
The
can
leader-
certainly do some... Alright.
could brick the Heron Kaduk.
Let's see. Could hit the Yalmar still.
Okay, hits the
Alright,
shield.
can we hit the Yalmar?
Okay, Hjalmar down.
Alright, that was a lucky ping, and now we can see GranMazorca, of course, still the 3-leader pings here, taking the value. Doesn't want to ping it
Hits
down
the
when you
shield.
use the leader. And the shield was hit.
Oh, it doesn't
and
matter. It doesn't matter. Still
Heal
enough.
value takes it by 1 point. That was
Oh.
some interesting pings here. So close. Even though Wlastelin definitely missed a bit. I mean, both players, we didn't see any totems. That was you.
That was crazy.
Huge congratulations to GranMazorca for qualifying for Gwent Open number 3. That is an impressive thing to do. Wlastelin, of course, played really, you know, to the best of his abilities here, and unfortunately got a bit unlucky with some of these Koshi lists and didn't exactly end up working as he wanted to always, but still both players played well. I mean, every player did. And yeah, we have a winner taking it to Open number 3.
Shmiri in
Congratulations.
chat saying 2 big corns in Open. Did Aluha qualify for this tournament already?
Yes.
Okay, so
We
instead
do
of
have
2
two
instead
big
of 2
corns.
lords, we're getting 2 big corns of different languages. Amazing. That's
Wow.
the state of competitive Gwent right now.
We do have one lord, of course. Now that Wlastelin did not make it, the first lord, but we do have a Lord Triss also qualifying today. So big congratulations. We have lords and corn for the Open. That will certainly be a treat for everyone watching, I'm sure.
Incredible, incredible. Well, anyways, I think that's going to be it for us. Is there anything you want to shout out before we go?
Yeah, I mean, maybe check out my Twitch channel. I stream there. It's written the way my name is on Twitch, so you can catch me there. Other than that, I would like to give a big shout out to Claymore, behind the scenes, of course, organizing everything. Snake, making sure we get these broadcasts, everyone working really hard over there. And thank you to CD Projekt Red for the opportunity, of course. And thank you to Trynet for having me here. I appreciate it so much, and it was a lot of fun casting with you.
Yeah, glad you had fun. Hope everyone enjoyed the cast. Hope everyone's looking forward to Open number 3 next month. That's going to be it for me. See you guys whenever I see you guys. Thanks for watching, everybody.